My name is John Weaver. I am a commercial loan broker. I own my own company, Reynolds Commercial Capital, out of Abilene, Texas.
Abilene, Texas. You grew up in Texas, didn't you?
I did. I grew up in a small farming community, a little bit north of Abilene. Um, just a typical, typical everyday, growing up experience. It was real good, Did a lot of, running in the creek and all sorts of other stuff.
Oh, yeah. You grow up in probably ag and energy and sports and everything along those lines. But you've got a banking background in your family, don't you?
Well, my dad was the vice president of a local bank, in the small farming community where I grew up. I wouldn't necessarily say that that's a banking background. He never really discussed work in any amount of detail, but it certainly got me interested in it. My mom, when I was growing up, owned her own pharmacy. For the time when it was, when you could still do that. Now it's really hard for people to do that. So I was always really interested in being an entrepreneur, always interested in the financial, markets and world, I guess.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the professional world that you're involved with. John Weaver with W. Reynolds Commercial Capital. What are some of the things that you guys probably give loans for everything, but is there something that you kind of focus on or something you're specializing in?
Well, I do a lot of different things. I do equipment finance and leasing for, anyone that needs to buy any kind of equipment pretty much. I do SBA 7A and 504 loans. If you're not familiar with 504, that's generally used to purchase commercial real estate. Of course, we do, I also do commercial real estate, including mezzanine finance and CMBS. And then, I do accounts receivable factoring, which is, when you look at businesses today, and this is across the board, really, the problem that every business runs into is that they don't have enough capital or they don't have enough, advertising. And, that's why I'm really excited to partner with the Crude Life and Rig Reporter, because, you guys are out there advocating for my business, and you're also supporting all of the oil and gas industry and helping them to find out about these new and exciting different innovations that are coming out, and all these different people that offer solutions to the various problems that are specific to the oil and gas industry. That's why I'm so excited to partner with you guys, because I'm myself trying to break into the oil and gas industry and see if there are solutions that I might bring to the table, which might impact, a couple of your listeners and help them to improve their bottom lines.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that, as long as we're talking turkey here, that one of those solutions that we felt that you could bring to the oil industry was one that kept coming up over and over again, which was receivables. A lot of people were having troubles, getting their receivables the last few years. 60 days turned into 90 days, and then all of a sudden you had to resubmit your tax ID number, so they got another 30 days out of the deal. I mean, all kinds of different things happen. But talk to me a little bit about that accounts receivable side of your business.
Right. Accounts receivable factoring, really, that is critically important for numerous businesses out there, especially the oil and gas industry, as they're now waiting 90 and 120 days to get paid on services that they've already performed. When you have a business that is experiencing these cash flow delays, it creates these peaks and valleys in your income stream, and you're going to have problems meeting payroll. You're going to have, you might need this new piece of equipment to facilitate a service. You might need, you might have a purchase order that comes in, and you need that money to go out and mobilize in order to be able to fulfill that purchase order. So, I want to be clear here. Accounts receivable factoring is not the end-all, be-all solution. It is a solution, and it might work in certain instances, and in other instances it may not. I do a variety of different things. I do everything, receivable factoring, purchase order financing, exploratory drilling financing, mobilization financing, numerous other things that we can accomplish. It really depends on what the business, specifically needs. Every business is unique, and therefore every solution must also be unique. Speaking about accounts receivable factoring, the way it works is generally you'll get within 3 or 4 business days, once the relationship is established, you'll get 80% of the money that you're owed by your debtor. You'll assign that debt to my lender or my factor, and then they will collect on that debt. You'll get charged a little bit, usually 1.25% for every 15 days that they have to wait to collect it. And then when they collect it, you'll get all the money that you're due minus their fees. So it really smooths out the peaks and valleys of the income stream that many people are struggling with. And they're not able to do the advertising that they need. They're not able to purchase these this piece of equipment that they need. They're not able to mobilize in the way that they need to fulfill a purchase order or any of these other business expenses that they need. So while it's not the perfect solution for every situation, when all you have to hammer, everything looks like a nail, but it is a solution, and it's a solution that I'm happy and proud to bring to the oil and gas industry, and so are my lenders.
Who would be somebody that would be qualified for something like this? I mean, you got to be a big company, a small company? I guess talk to me a little bit about, who would be your customer for something like that when it comes to accounts receivables?
My ideal customer for accounts receivable is anybody that has any money that's owed to them for a business purpose. I can work with people, small mom and pop auto shops, that are only running, 5 or 10,000 of accounts receivable per month, all the way up to, I guess I would say I don't want to, put words in my lender's mouths here, but, they can probably accommodate, a lot, but, anywhere up to like 5 or 10 million a month, depending on the size of the company and, of course, the account debtors. There is not, I'm not going to guarantee that every single account receivable debtor or accounts receivable invoice can be factored, because a lot of that's going to depend on the strength of the debtor and, their cash flow, everything else. But in the majority of cases, it's all going to be deal dependent. But I'm certain that I can find a solution, whether it's a line of credit or any number of other things to help your listener base out when they're having these cash flow problems.
Let's talk about the other side of your business that I wrote down, the equipment financing part. I believe that's something that's relevant to the oil and gas industry as well as many other industries, but your equipment financing, just explain that a little bit further, what you guys are offering when it comes to equipment financing.
For equipment financing, I work with over 45 different lenders across the United States, and there's probably 8 or 12 of those guys that really specialize in equipment financing. We can go anywhere from $5,000 for some margarita machine, all the way up to $30 million for some huge industrial earth moving machine, yellow iron. Really anybody for almost anything. The beautiful thing about my lenders is that they're not so much concerned with credit. especially when you're talking equipment finance and equipment leasing, because the collateral is the piece of equipment that the borrower is going to purchase. So they're really only concerned with cash flow and collateral. And all of my lenders are really used to working with people that might be credit challenged. And that's important because, not to get too political, but we did have a stretch of about 8 years when the economy was stagnant and everyone was having to keep their business alive off of personal credit and everything else. And so, they took a few hits over the years. Thankfully, the economy has come back, and happy to be a part of that, and happy to help out anybody in any way that I can with any equipment purchase or any other business needs.
How can people get in touch with you if they want to find out some more information on what we talked about, or maybe to get a loan with you, or maybe have you do some of their accounts receivables?
Well, it's important to realize I'm not a direct lender. I work with 47 different lenders. So I'm not a direct lender. Hoping, maybe one day to become one. We'll see how all that goes if the business is that successful. But the best way to get in touch with me is through my website. It's Reynolds, REYNOLDS, ComCap.com. That's where you can find out more information about all the different things that I specialize in, whether it's SBA, commercial real estate, any of those other ones besides what we've talked about here. And like I said, I work with all these different lenders, so, I can usually figure out a way to help somebody out, even if it's not necessarily in my wheelhouse of something I do every day. You can also get in touch with me via my office phone. It's 325-480-1589.